Welcome to Argumentor podcast. This is episode 4 of Dial 100 series. In this episode, we're going to be dealing with the spike in the number of cybercrime being committed ever since the lockdown. In the podcast, we'll be discussing about several of such crimes such as phishing and also crimes of internet trolling and harassment, and also other similar crimes which have been faced by several users as well. Do stay tuned for more information. So, guys, as we go through this lockdown, and as we try to analyze, the lockdown has actually led to an increase in the number of cybercrimes being reported. Especially, like there have been instances of people blocking their accounts and such hateful kind of messages being sent. The amount of fake news also has increased to a twofold, threefold, or you can just tell it infinitely, because people are staying at their homes, and they are the and you can obviously vouch for it that the number of people who are spending their times in the phone other devices have actually increased to a lot more, because they're pretty much with their devices. And if you actually look at it, yeah, with regard to the case of several of the incidents being reported, like you had the locker room incident which happened in the early lockdown, wherein there's allegations being raised on either side that there was being pictures being shared, and a lot of social media influencers also coming into the foray. uh, but then in the end of the day, it took a different twist or turn. But it has also started drawing room conversations that how far should we be expecting trolls to come and hate on our comments, or hate on our pictures, or even with regard to the recent Bollywood issue. Also, many of the actors and actresses have actually limited the number of comments, because because they are apprehending several hate comments which are going to come forth because of the entire drug issue and all those issues in hand. So, what do you guys have a view on that, as to has the lockdown really devastated the lives of many, and has created a sense of uncertainty among people actually?
So, Joel, like exactly like you said, I mean, these trolling, creation of memes and all, to an extent, is okay. I must say it's a kind of skill when it's not offensive or not hurting a person's feelings. Because moreover, would like to put that under positive criticism on one hand, where criticisms actually bring the best out of people. But after an extent, memes, trolls, and all go to a limit where exceed the limit where people try to get into the families of a person or personal issues of a person and dig into the same, put forth blatant facts about the same. All these things can create a lot of issues like what that's happening recently, and even incidents like that of the boys locker room, or like even there are a lot of case number of suicides increasing, because see, if one post of ours can create a huge impact, I mean, especially when it comes to
True.
social media.
The boys' locker room incident was just to show that cybercrime is on the rise, and cyberbullying, especially, which a lot of teenagers and a lot of children face every day, is also increasing rampantly. And these crimes have only, grown exponentially ever since the inception of the lockdown. And that's only because we're all just stuck within our houses, and, the only means we resort to for entertainment is social media and using technology. And also, the pandemic has affected everybody severely. A lot of people have lost their jobs, a lot of people have lost their
Exactly.
livelihoods. And, the cybercrime has also victimized these people looking for jobs in this helpless and desperate situation. There have been cases where people have been looking for jobs, and they get these job offers online, and these job offers require them to pay a certain security deposit to secure their job at the enterprise, and it just turns out to be a fraud or a scam.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I think I'm really sorry to interrupt there, but I myself was a kind of victim for this issue,
oh, okay.
because I sort of was asked, okay, I reached to an extent, I wish if I could help my parents some way by earning myself some sort of part-time job. I actually ended up applying for this job, and at the end, they asked me for some security amount. It was like some 750 rupees. it was not kind of security amount. They said they require this money for police security charges. So friends, to whoever listening, if they come up and ask you for charges for police security, that's pure nonsense. And they asked for rupees 750, and they said, okay, it's just rupees 750. We will be refunding this money in your salary. That was like a big mess up. If I had paid, for God's sake, I didn't pay it off, because I went, looked for it. I realized that it was a pure scam of the actual website that was working. And I also reported the same to the cyber police. I think when things of this sort come, a recheck, a second check is very, very important before falling prey to all these
Yes, it's
things, I
very
guess.
essential to verify every information that we receive online. Throughout the
Huh.
lockdown, there have been cases where, people have been posing as fake plasma donors and with their numbers, shown as advertisements and stuff, and saying, okay, fine, reach out to us if you need plasma donors. And people have fallen for that trick also. They've paid the money hoping that, uh, their family members and their loved ones will be cured of the virus. And it just turns out to be a fraud. And people are making use of the desperation this coronavirus has created.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much what you stated is actually what's happening, Minaj and Maria. Like Maria, with regard to your instance, yeah, it actually happened to you, and it must have happened to several other members as well. But then, if you just look at LinkedIn today or other platforms, there are several people who are actually like many of them have lost their jobs or who are pretty qualified. They are out of helplessness. They are actually posting their resume, or that they're trying to make people to like their post, or
Exactly.
it starts to reach to a level of a company and things like that. But the sad thing is they are pretty helpless also in this lockdown, because it is actually very difficult to move around the country or to move to a particular job place to seek for a job, or not just with regard to the job in particular. The lockdown, which is intended to make us sit at home, has also created a side effect on economically, socially, and also mentally as well. Psychologically, people are facing a lot of stress, and also a lot of mental health issues also being brought forward, because especially with the amount of trolling and things like that. And also, as like Minaj had also pointed with regard to the number of scams. I think you guys, if you're on YouTube, there is this foreigner. I think he's pretty much accustomed to Indian culture, and he's pretty much an Indian. Have you heard of this YouTuber called Karl Rocks?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
His accent, his accent kind of gets me all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm not wrong, there was like a video where some man was calling him Corona. He's like, "Tu Corona hai, tu Corona hai."
Yeah,
Oh, God.
yeah, but that guy pretty much from the beginning, yeah, that incident aside, he pretty much tries to expose this kind of scam, like all these job offers and all these net services and things like that. He tries to call these centers and try to keep the people informed. So he in a way is trying to also, like, the usual picture of India to many foreigners is that you get mugged, you get robbed, you'll have some hackers and stuff. They'll come and take away your money from your account and things like that. But then this guy is pretty much trying to make people aware, for the matter of fact. So don't you think that with prior amount of awareness about such crimes, like what are the crimes that are happening? Example, the like if your why you should not reveal your credit card details or other kind of personal information, like the scare of phishing or hacking and things like that. So don't you think those kind of things need to be addressed by a forum or by an authority in particular?
Of course, Joel. And with respect to technology, I mean, all of us can agree that learning and being accustomed to using technology and social media and stuff requires a lot of training and a lot of experience. Think about it. Put our examples for that instance. It's not like the first time we were given a computer or we were given a phone, we were aware about everything. We only got to know about online viruses, Trojans, and those time bombs, those whatever viruses they're called. We got to learn about all of those over several years of usage. And I'm sure all of us have been victim to some sort of hacking or some sort of cybercrime at one point of our lives. And with respect to India, we are a newly developing nation and technology. We're advancing with technology very newly. And because of that, there's a large influx of people who use technology on a daily basis. And I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's not practical to make everyone aware about the 100, 2000, 100, 200 crimes that take place and can happen online. I mean, even now, like a few seconds ago, I just got a message saying, okay, fine, you won a lottery of 10,000 rupees. Send the details on this link and we will credit the amount to your account.
Yeah, true, true.
I'm aware. I know that it's a scam, so I don't even respond to that. But think about people who've just got their phones for the first time and are exposed to all this for the first time. They wouldn't even know that it's a scam, right?
And
And that is
yeah,
a challenge that technology poses with digital India and stuff like that.
Speaking of digital India, I think again, let to repeat, you must all of your users may have got data for cheap, but at least learn how to use the data wisely, because I really feel that I'm not saying that people should not be given free data or data in a very cheap cost, but also there needs to be a sense of internet education as well, is what I'm trying to stress upon.
guys, I think I should better take the side of the victims, because when it comes to the side of the victims, okay, why do these people fall prey, or why does this vulnerability comes? That basically pushes all of us to the legal side, or what are the remedies available for people who actually fall prey into it. For example, out of the cybercrimes that were there, pornography or child pornography was a big issue that we had faced, especially during the lockdown, I must say. And if you look legally, if you look into the provisions of IT Act 2000, if you go into Section 67B of IT Act in specific, that clearly restricts child pornography from happening. And even you have similar provisions that are available in POCSO Act as well, Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act as well, where sections 13 to 15, I think, also speak about this, about preventing child pornography from happening. Similarly, other similar stakeholders, cyber stalking, cyber phishing, all these are cyber hacking, a couple of crimes that take place and that can even end up ruining lives of people, where this kind of info goes into a huge mass of population. And guys, don't you think that this vulnerability take place because we fail to understand what are our rights, or we fail to understand what is the remedy for the same?
Yes, child pornography has been on the rise, and it also goes on to show that children are very soft targets for these cyber crimes, and it just happens on a regular basis because children are unaware. And I feel like from a very young age, the new generation, the upcoming generation, should be given internet education, as Joel mentioned earlier, so that growing up, they're aware about these crimes and they can be safe. Because think about it, just because I give my son a tablet, it doesn't mean that I know what he's doing on the tab 24/7. Of course, I can install softwares, but there are loopholes in that as well, and it all boils down to how informed the child is. So that should be the next step I think we need to take in order to prevent these crimes, or reduce the frequency of these attacks.
And also I feel that instead of like, if you're giving your devices to your children now, obviously the children too also feel that if the parents or if the elders try to constantly monitor on them, it'll be like they'll say, oh papa, you're actually invading into my privacy, like the word privacy and all those things in a small age itself they're able to understand. But then the fact of the matter is the internet also has made people to really get aware of certain things. I don't think we can blame the internet for being, because the internet also has its own its own good as well as its disadvantages as well. And especially with regard to today, the intermediaries also have their own liabilities, and how they should really put up, encourage this kind of posts or take down posts which are harmful or insightful in nature. Like even when you look at the like I think all of us are pretty aware about the Wall Street Journal, what it had stated with regard to how Facebook and other platforms have actually been allowing certain amount of content which is actually hate speech and those kind of videos to actually, like there's no like blocking of these kind of videos. Instead they're actually on the network. So it kind of like promotes these kind of activities as such. So, like I feel that as an intermediary, like a Facebook or an Instagram, that first of all they have their own duties to take down such kind of content if it is harmful or insightful or has any sexually explicit or any kind of ultra like maximum amount of violence, which can actually, scar children and things like that. And also, not to forget that even the internet has also made several of the movements come to light. Like you had the Me Too movement, also through the net. Like people have actually opened up as to how they have actually experienced such kind of harassments by their bosses or by the people who are of higher dominance over them, be it physically or even be it through through the net also as well. And also there was the recent incident wherein there was this person from an organization who was texting very inappropriately to the children, and texting them inappropriately. And then when these children grew up, they are actually understood that, oh God, what have we been doing? This guy was pretty much hitting towards us and texting us such explicit messages. I think it takes an amount of maturity, is what I feel. And again, getting back to what I actually touched upon, internet education, I feel that rather than, like, the internet has of course made people to learn about the cultures and traditions and so many things around the world, and it has made a world a smaller place, but it has actually led people to be more narrow-minded also, in a way. Objectification as well is what I feel. So I feel that from childhood or from an age when you're able to you're using your devices, you need to be taught, or you need to understand several things as to what not to do, and to be aware of certain kind of crimes which are going to be perpetrated towards you.
Adding on to that, I would just like to give you a small incident that I'd faced myself. So while I was scrolling through Instagram, I came across a very offensive post. It was slightly sexually explicit, and I took it upon myself to report the post because I felt like it would offend some people. So I reported the post, and immediately I was moved out of that page, and I got a notification from Instagram saying, okay, your post would be checked. Thank you for reporting the post and whatever. And after a couple of days, I got a message saying, the post that you reported does not violate the community guidelines, and hence it would not be struck down. If you do not wish to see any post from this user, kindly block the user. And that really raises a question about the liability of these social media platforms and the kind of measures they're taking to regulate hate speech, as you said, or not even hate speech, to regulate offensive and inappropriate material that is being circulated on their platforms. So that should be questioned.
But guys, don't you think that intermediary platforms do have their limitations as well? Because when it comes to anonymity of accounts, when it comes to the numerous accounts that come up with similar content, I think in India, not just in India, in globally, there are a lot of limitations with respect to the role of the intermediary platforms and their right to control over the posts or feed of individuals. Because when it comes to that right to privacy, right to freedom of speech and expression, all these rights are kind of getting tangled with this part of the intermediate platforms. And plus, so on that aspect, I think it's again reporting the crime becomes a valid part of that again, because when you individually lodge a complaint of a particular incident that you had to undergo, I think that automatically gets priority, because if you have actually faced any sort of such derogatory statements and all, you will automatically be recognized in such an aspect rather than making a general notion on the same. Right. The whole point of our series Dial 100 is again, getting into that part. And especially when you actually understand, okay, this has been happened to you in one way or another, I think it's duly owes you to report or to lodge a complaint about the incident that had happened with due evidence in the form of the, what should I say, the documents that are available online per se. Like it can be even a screenshot, or the timings of information about the post can actually help. I think this actually brings an end to this session by also making a mention about the helplines that are available for to report cybercrimes. The helpline number 155260 that's available from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day can also be used as an important tool to report the crime. And you will also have localized cyber crime reporting centers for the same. And we again urge, do not be silent, do not be mere spectators, report the crime.